Hey everyone, it's Marissa here. Welcome back to my channel. I know I've been super inconsistent like the last 4 to 6 months, I think, and my camera is like lopsided. There we go, that's a little better. So if you guys saw my last video, if you didn't, I'll link it up here. It was kind of like a life update, a little bit about what's been going on. I did like a Trader Joe's haul and kind of talked to you guys a little bit about work and just life and stuff. And I mentioned that I was going to do like a sit down 1 year new grad nurse update. For those of you that don't know, I started as a new grad last February, so February 2020, in labor and delivery. It was like a crazy whirlwind as far as like me getting my job in L&D and moving across the country for this job and like just everything. So a little background, I graduated nursing school in Maryland in, I was gonna say February, in December of 2019. Took the NCLEX in January, ended up interviewing and getting my current job in January, moved out here beginning of February, started my job like a week later. So it was like a huge whirlwind. I think I was working for like a good few weeks, and then COVID happened, like lockdown. My cat is running around crazy. Masks, like everything. So it's just been a crazy year to start as a new grad. But honestly, it's been amazing. I think I mentioned like around the time I got my job, kind of like how it happened, just kind of like my struggles with applying and all of that stuff. I knew from like the very beginning I wanted to do labor and delivery. There was nothing else. Like I wasn't gonna start in med surg, I wasn't gonna do anything else. That's the whole reason why like I went to nursing school and just started this whole journey. So yeah, I was applying to like every job out in Maryland, labor and delivery. I think I did NICU, like the, what is it, like Mount Washington or I think it was like Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital. I think that's what it was called. Honestly, I can't even remember now. I did my clinicals there, I applied there. I applied to like another like NICU position. Basically all in like the area of Maryland that I was in, but I did not hear back like at all. My husband has family out here in Colorado, so he really wanted to move out here. So I applied to this one hospital that I'm at right now, specifically for labor and delivery. They didn't have any positions at the time. I randomly got a call one day from the manager wanting an interview, and I got the job. It was just crazy. I also applied to the children's hospital that's attached to my hospital here as well. So yeah, it was a struggle. But I will say, if you're wanting to start in labor and delivery, no, you do not need to do med surg first. You don't need to do anything else first. You don't need to get experience in like any other specialty or unit. If you want labor and delivery, apply, go for it. Obviously, if you don't get it, you know, try something else and then see if you can come back to it. But you definitely do not have to get a year of med surg before going to labor and delivery. If you're not able to get into labor and delivery right away, try like postpartum, mom, baby. It's a little bit different than labor and delivery, but it might get your foot in the door as far as like the unit, a birth center, kind of working in like an LDRP, so labor, delivery, recovery, postpartum, that kind of thing. Kind of help you more so to get your foot in the door versus like med surg. So starting from like the beginning, I was super nervous. I didn't know anybody out here in Colorado, brand new nurse. Like I was intimidated, I was scared. I was like, I don't know what they teach out here in nursing school and how different it is from like what I was taught. And when I went through nursing school, I wasn't taught how to do IVs. So I had never put an IV in somebody, like nothing. So I was super nervous about that. My preceptor was amazing. I could not have like had a better preceptor. From day one, she like threw me into everything. I think our first day on the unit was in triage, or like the OBED. So the obstetrics emergency department. She at the time was working like a lot in the OBED. So I did like my first day there, and she just had me like do everything from the start. Like IVs, turns out I was like pretty good at them. And like cervical exams. One, I didn't even know that I was gonna have to do cervical exams. Back in Maryland when I did my clinicals, it was basically like residents that would do cervical exams because a lot of the hospitals out there were teaching hospitals. So I just had it in my mind that that's kind of how it was out here too. Not the case. I was kind of blindsided by that. But she had me doing everything from the very beginning, which was amazing. Like the nurses were just super great. Day shift nurses are a little different than night shift nurses. Not that like there's anything super negative, but it's definitely a different environment now that I've been on night shift since like last summer. But everybody was like super great, welcoming. I got off of orientation in like, I want to say June, beginning of June. So here you have like 12 to 16 weeks, so 3 to 4 months of orientation. They usually go more towards 16 weeks, just to really give you that like good solid foundation. But up until then, I was on days with my preceptor. I saw everything and everything. We did a lot of C-sections in the beginning just to kind of get more comfortable with that. Honestly, now that I've been on night shift, we hardly, I wouldn't say hardly, but we don't do a ton of C-sections unless it's emergent or urgent. So for a while I was super comfortable with that. Honestly, now the only thing I hate about C-sections is the abdominal prep. I've had some experiences and it's just kind of scarred me. But anyway, we did like a lot of those in the beginning, and then we kind of started to go more towards labor. So C-sections, especially like scheduled ones, they're very cut and dry. Like everything kind of goes in an order. So I kind of had that down. Labor, you can kind of like, you just never know what you're gonna get. So my preceptor, and I think I've mentioned this before, she would say something like, oh man, I hope we don't have this, or man, all we're missing or all that we haven't experienced or done is this. And then it would happen. I'm talking hemorrhages, a shoulder, so shoulder dystocia. And we actually, the shoulder dystocia we had was followed by a hemorrhage. I saw like hysterectomy, back placed. So if you guys don't know a back if you're having a hemorrhage and you can't stop the bleeding, kind of before going to a hysterectomy is like a back balloon. So it's placed inside the uterus and like expanded with like saline to hold it in place, and it kind of tamponades or puts pressure on the uterus. So that's usually used to stop the bleeding after like a DNC. They'll go in with the back and then the next step would, well, there would be a couple of other things, but ultimately like hysterectomy. But we saw that. I'm trying to think what else. We saw a stat section, like the heart tones were down for like 10 minutes and we raced to the back, and this was not long after like the patient we had was like admitted or something. So I basically saw everything with my preceptor. And then I got onto nights in like June. And the one kind of not great thing about being a new nurse, and I'm sure this is the case anywhere, but some providers feel like you have to prove yourself to them, like prove your knowledge, your abilities, all of that stuff. For the most part, the providers were great. Like everybody on night shift was super supportive, like understanding, like if you need something or your heart tones are down, they're in the room to help you, like all of this stuff. But a couple of providers gave me like a lot of, I don't want to say trouble, but I guess you could say that. I just had some issues, mainly this one provider, and it shook me up so bad. Like I would go, like before going into work, before even leaving home, I would cry. I was nervous, like I wasn't sure if this provider was gonna be on. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I hate doing preps in the OR, because I was back in the OR prepping this patient for a C-section, and I could hear this provider kind of like talking crap about me and like what I was doing, and that kind of scarred me. So I hate doing preps. But it just kind of got pretty bad. I ended up writing an email to my manager about it, and things kind of got better after that point. I don't know if like the provider was talked to or what, but the nurses on nights, like I said, amazing. My charge nurses seriously like looked out for me. They look out for everybody. And this one charge nurse in particular, she is hilarious. I absolutely love working with her. She, if she knew that this provider was on, she would not give me patients for this group, which was amazing. Now that things are better, they've been better for a while. I'm fine taking those patients, but it's just those little things, that charge nurses see, and they do what they can to help you. So that was like a huge turning point for me, a huge change. And I kind of just told myself, like, I can't be like this. I can't let somebody get to me this much. But it was kind of known that this one provider like wants you to prove yourself, or kind of gives you a hard time till they see how you are. But yeah, so I've had like an issue with a couple of the providers, but for the most part, it's been great. I've learned so much. Honestly, I can't believe I've been working here for a year already. I mean, at this point, it's a little over a year just because I'm super behind getting this video out. Work overall has been great. The last like month and a half, 2 months, I've just had like a lot of issues in my personal life, which has made me not want to be at work. I haven't been, there was like a good 3 to 4 weeks that I wasn't at work a lot. I would work like 1 to 2 shifts a week because mentally, emotionally, I was just not able to. I was put home on call a lot. And yeah, I mean, I broke down at work because one provider was just kind of giving me attitude about this one patient that I was asking for internal monitors for, and I was already feeling inadequate and just down. And so I ended up having a breakdown at work, like full on ugly cry. And so I kind of told everybody finally what was going on. And everybody was just so supportive and just like really looked out for me, mostly because they're just amazing people, but a lot of them have been through this. And so, yeah, I wasn't at work like a lot the last like 3 to 4 weeks. The last 2 weeks have been great. I've been working like all of my shifts. I've been feeling better. But it has just been a whirlwind of a year. I'm trying to think, like, I haven't had anything like, aside from those couple of issues, that's been like super negative. My coworkers are just amazing, funny, supportive. I love working with them. But yeah, I love what I do. I love being a labor and delivery nurse. I'm glad that I did not settle. With this hospital that I'm at, I was originally offered a float pool position. So like med surg, ortho, and I think that was between like 2 of the hospitals in the system. But I turned it down. I was like, you know, I really want labor and delivery. Like, I just want to hold out to see if something happens. And the recruiter actually reached out to my manager and was like, hey, you know, I really think that you should talk to this new grad. She really wants to work L&D. And then that's when my manager called me. So good things come to those who wait. Be persistent. I'm the type of person that doesn't settle. When I have something in my mind, I go for it. I do not stop until I get it, I achieve it. And I was just super thankful that my manager took a chance on me. And one thing that I will say is, and I'm sure this is kind of a no-brainer, but when you go in to work somewhere, wherever it is, like, go in and expose yourself to like any and all opportunities that you can. Even if it's stuff that you're not comfortable with, like, you will learn so much. And that's really what I've done over the last year. Like, even from the very beginning, I just like have really worked hard. And like I said, I just can't believe that it's been a year. I never I wouldn't say I never would have thought, because this was my goal, but I just like thinking back on it, I can't believe that like I'm here now, like a year, well, over a year as a nurse. Like I said, it's been a whirlwind. I love what I do. I love being able to help moms and just families in general through such a big day in their lives. You know, labor and delivery is not all happy and sunshine and rainbows and fun. You know, you take care of these parents as, you know, they have to give birth to, you know, their babies that have already died, or like you know, their babies have all these anomalies and it's just not compatible with life. So you just have to help them through, you know, these deliveries, which is really hard and heartbreaking. But it really is just a balance. Like, yes, you have the sad, hard days, but then, you know, when you can help a mom through labor and delivery, and just seeing how grateful and thankful they are, like for your help, it just makes it all worth it. Don't go into it expecting to be thanked or praised for what you do, because you know that's not always going to happen, but the moments that it does, it's just so amazing. I have to say that my favorite times, like when, you know, your patient has had such a long delivery, or their baby is OP, meaning like face up, sunny side up, and those kind of make it hard to progress. That's like where the baby is not in the best position. We like them to be face down or OA. But when they've kind of been stuck at, you know, 4, 5, 6 centimeters for hours, and then you go in there and you do every position change under the sun, and all of a sudden they're like 8, 9, 10 centimeters complete, and pushing, and they're just super thankful that they didn't have to go back for a C-section. I think those are just some of like the best moments. I mean, there's honestly so many amazing moments, but yeah, I love what I do, even like I said, through the hard, difficult times, hemorrhages, stat C-sections. You know, they don't happen all the time, but I think what people don't realize, like I said before, labor and delivery is not sunshine, happy, babies, all of this stuff. Don't go into it if you're just wanting to hold babies or, you know, work with babies. On my unit anyway, we have baby nurses, so nurses that specifically take care of the baby, and we just focus on mom. You know, I do get to help with breastfeeding and like hold a baby occasionally, but for the most part, you are all about helping this mom just transition into motherhood and just adding, you know, new life. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't go in it for the babies. You know, labor and delivery and just obstetrics is a very high risk specialty. We kind of combine a bunch of different specialties all into one. So just kind of keep that in mind. You know, you could have a labor that is going great and all of a sudden heart tones are down and you are rushing to the back for a stat C-section and mom is being put under general. You could have, you know, a provider come in and break water, or a patient's water break, and, you know, it's a cord prolapse and you're running to the back. You just never ever know what's gonna happen, what you're gonna get, or what you're gonna walk into, which is definitely nerve-wracking. You know, for a while, I would go into work nervous. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know what I was gonna see. But now, for a while, I've been feeling so much better about it. And it's just something that comes with time. Cervical exams, if that's something that your unit does, that will take some time. I think the biggest thing for me is station, like where the baby's head is in relation to the birth canal, or like the pelvis. So that's just kind of all stuff that comes with time. but it is exciting, and just honestly, I think the best specialty out there. So if that's something that you're working towards or something that you know you want to do, go for it. Like I said, don't settle or think that you can't start there. A lot of people do start in labor and delivery just because, you know, it's so specialized. Like, you will learn everything on orientation. So just kind of, you know, keep all of that stuff in mind. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And definitely you can go and follow me on Instagram. I'll leave that down below and you guys can ask me questions there. Now that I have passed a year, it's kind of been my goal to go back into the military as a nurse. So I'm kind of working towards that goal. Hopefully that's something that can happen sometime in the near future. So if you guys have questions about that, you can definitely ask me that as well. But that's kind of how this whole last year's been. I know it was kind of all over the place. So if you guys want a certain video made or have questions or want me to do a video with your guys' questions and answering your questions, you can let me know that too. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on, what's happened this last year, and kind of what I'm working towards in the near future. Yeah, it's just been a whirlwind of a year, starting as a new grad and then, you know, COVID happening. But honestly, it's been the best. It's been the best experience ever. I love it. But yeah, anyway, you guys, make sure that you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so that when I do post new uploads, you guys will be notified. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down below. Follow me on Instagram. You can write me there as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'll be seeing you very soon in my next video. Bye, guys.